From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, July the 24th, 2024. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed a joint session of Congress this afternoon, speaking of the importance of U.S. support for Israel, the threat from Iran, the critical mission of defeating terror group Hamas, and of bringing the hostages home.
Israel will fight until we destroy Hamas's military capabilities, end its rule in Gaza, and bring all our hostages home. As we speak, we're actively engaged in intensive efforts to secure their release, and I'm confident that these efforts can succeed. Some of them are taking place right now. Our world is in upheaval. In the Middle East, Iran's axis of terror confronts America, Israel, and our Arab friends. This is not a clash of civilizations. It's a clash between barbarism and civilization. For the forces of civilization to triumph, America and Israel must stand together. I want to thank President Biden for his tireless efforts on behalf of the hostages and for his efforts to the hostage families as well. I thank President Biden for his heartfelt support for Israel after the savage attack on October 7th. He rightly called Hamas sheer evil. He dispatched 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East to deter a wider war. And he came to Israel to stand with us during our darkest hour, a visit that will never be forgotten. Iran is virtually behind all the terrorism, all the turmoil, all the chaos, all the killing. So when Israel fights Hamas, we're fighting Iran. When we fight Hezbollah, we're fighting Iran. When we fight the Houthis, we're fighting Iran. And when we fight Iran, we're fighting the most radical and murderous enemy of the United States of America. And one more thing. When Israel acts to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons that could destroy Israel and threaten every American city, every city that you come from, we're not only protecting ourselves, we're protecting you. Our enemies are your enemies. Our fight is your fight, and our victory will be your victory.
We aired the address live on JBS this afternoon, and we'll be bringing you an encore presentation of the address tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Prime Minister Netanyahu will meet with President Joe Biden tomorrow, Thursday, at the White House. The White House saying today that the leaders will discuss developments in Gaza and progress towards a ceasefire and hostage release deal, and the United States' ironclad commitment to Israel's security, including countering Iran's threats to Israel and the broader region. The White House said following the leaders' meeting, they will meet together with the families of Americans held hostage by Hamas. The Vice President, Kamala Harris, will also meet separately with Prime Minister Netanyahu on July the 25th, tomorrow. And the Prime Minister, according to reports, is set to meet with former President Donald Trump on Friday in Florida. Israel's coordinator for the hostages and the missing, Brigadier General in Reserve Gal Hirsch, met last night in Washington with the team of the U.S. State Department Special Presidential Envoy for Hostages and Missing, led by Deputy Special Envoy Dustin Stewart. Netanyahu's office said that the two discussed the situation regarding the return of the hostages, as well as the issue of cooperation on various issues between the two countries' coordinators for the hostages and the missing. The hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza have now been in captivity for 292 days. The IDF, meanwhile, continues its battle against Hamas in Gaza, sharing an update from the operation in Khan Yunis, where it said in the past day the forces located an underground route in the area and also eliminated terrorists. And in Rafah, the forces raided a number of terrorist infrastructures, located weapons, and eliminated terrorists who were operating near them and posed a threat to them. Adding that at the same time as the ground activity, fighter jets and aircraft of the Air Force attacked dozens of terrorist targets in the Gaza Strip, including military buildings, terrorists, observation posts, and various terrorist infrastructure. And the IDF continues to defend its northern border with Lebanon as rockets continue to be fired at northern Israel by terror group Hezbollah. No injuries were reported. The IDF said overnight Israeli fighter jets struck a building which the IDF said was used by Hezbollah to fire rockets at Israel yesterday, also hitting a Hezbollah weapons depot. The IDF said that earlier yesterday, Tuesday, an IDF soldier was seriously injured as a result of the fall of several missiles that crossed the territory of Lebanon towards the Mount Dov region. Well, the Olympic Games in Paris officially open this Friday, and Israel's National Security Council told its citizens traveling to the Games to exercise increased caution. This amid reported threats as well as voices calling to boycott Israel at the Games. French President Emmanuel Macron was cited yesterday saying Israeli athletes are welcome in our country and that it was France's responsibility to provide them with security. Macron saying, I condemn in the strongest possible way all those who create risks for these athletes and implicitly threaten them. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, July the 24th at 7 o'clock. David Harris is joined by Yonathan Afri, president of CRIF, the central umbrella body for the Jewish community in France, to discuss the timely and complex situation facing his nation, the third largest Jewish community in the world. At 7:30, as mentioned, an encore presentation of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to Congress. At 8:30, Benjamin Anthony trains with IDF soldiers and tours Israel's Carmel market on Israel Outside In. At 9, it's part 1 of Aryeh Green on L'chaim. At 10, Shahar Azani is joined by Lea Peskin, Jonathan Huppert, and Dr. Danny Derby for a discussion on treating patients with combat-related PTSD. At 10:30, it's an encore of the news, and coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And just a programming note for you for tomorrow, Thursday, we will bring you another encore presentation of the Prime Minister's speech to Congress at 5:30, followed by analysis of that speech from JBS's Shahar Azani and David Harris at 6:30. That will be replacing the news. I will be back with the news update on Monday. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.